Okay, sir. Hi everyone, welcome to Entrepreneurship Cell. This is Entreview, and today we have Divyesh Gopani, who is the founder of iCreate, Infotech, and Go Eyewear. This side Shabdan Sajani, Vice Chairperson of eCell.
And my name is Jillian Sikwara, the Executive of Marketing and Networking Department of ESAL KC College. And we have Ayushi Somani, who is the Executive of the Content Writing Department, who is currently behind the camera noting down all the important points of this interview.
Sir, we have researched a lot about you. Could you please tell us something about yourself, which we are unaware of?
Okay, so honestly, my whole journey of this whole entrepreneurial journey began from KC College, to be honest. Honestly, I have a family business, a well-settled family business in the eyewear industry. And like every other person, when I started 11th standard college, I was like, in the back of the mind, 5 years, I will, deal with college life. And after that, I'm going to go with my family business, and that's about it. But honestly, this went on, this mentality went on till I reached 12th standard. After which I was like, no, this is not actually what I'm looking at. So I ended up with doing bachelor's in accounting and finance. And that's when I came across a lot of courses, a lot of committees in college. When I started working for them and when I started chairing those committees, that's when this whole entrepreneurial journey actually started for me. So firstly, when I started with college in my 13th, I was made the contingent leader for the club for one of the college festivals, and we broke our own record of winning a trophy for the first year. Like we've never won a trophy at a Jai Hind festival known as Entourage, and that's when I came down and I was like, no, we'll get a trophy this year. And that's when I started liking a lot of things. So I realized that this whole journey has to have some value to me and my outgrowing myself. So in 13th standard, my bad, in 13th standard, or your FI as we term it as, that's when we came up as I was the co-head of the placement cell in KC. It was the first time the placement cell has ever existed also. So the first year it started, I chaired it as the co-VP only, because obviously you don't have a lot of experience and it's your first year in college. So that's when the whole began for me. In my second year, again, when I came down, I became again the co-chair for the whole placement cell because of my first year performance. And I became the Zesta CFO as well as Chul CFO. And then the journey began from there. So we had this concept of B4 mod, basically. So it's basically an entrepreneurship thing in our year where we used to ask all the, different students from various classes to come up and with stalls and everything. That one year, my team somehow didn't manage to crack it. So my HOD, Miss Ritika Pathak, has been very sweet to me, has always been very helpful to me. She told me, why don't you do the whole event only? You organize the whole event, you become the head of the event, and you make sure everything happens in place. So, I got first-hand information from the judges at that point in time because I was obviously the head. So you get to interact with the judges being the chairperson of the event. And then that's when, I saw this whole entrepreneurship wave coming in. And I was like, I want to come out of this whole shell of me having only like, okay, I have a family business, I'll work till like 40, 50, and then my children will learn. That's about it. And that's when this whole iCreate, Infotech, and Ryan Eyewear came into existence. So basically, Ryan Eyewear is the brand that I started in back once I graduated from college. Then very next year, I started with Ryan Eyewear. That was the baby which I started with. So basically, being in the eyewear industry, I've always, liked the eyewear industry, and I've been into hardcore designing and creative. So, designing eyewear has always been a forte which I've always liked that. But, the one gap that I realized in the whole market scenario where I existed was, you always get compared to a lens card.
Yes.
And the first point was, you are in an industry where lens card is. And the second thing that is there is, you're going to be making it in India. And the whole mentality of make in India comes into your head that, it's cheap, substantial goods that you're talking about. And that's when I thought of creating a brand image for myself, which is not cheap, substantial goods, And my second point was my company exists from 1965, way before Lenskart even existed. We've survived this far. We're yet making numbers. We're yet showing numbers. We yet sell goods to over 4,000 retail stores in India. Even before Lenskart existed. So I honestly don't feel that a Lenskart or anyone has been an issue for me. So that's when whole Ryan Eyewear came. Today it's been like a 2-year-old baby, which runs on a whole Make in India initiative. We create 100% Make in India eyewear frames, as well as we support NGOs, entrepreneurs who are somewhere relevant to our industry, or we try and get commodities from them, which is made 100% in India. Only because we want to support entrepreneurs who are making in India, and we realize that someone has to step in and help them, because all of us will be just be like, oh, let's not support him. That's not how community is going to grow or an ecosystem will grow. So we realized that there's a whole gap. So honestly, that's why I started collaborating with NGOs majorly. Is that they started creating. They had a lot of women who are unemployed, and this whole entrepreneurial journey. The first part about entrepreneurial journey is making numbers. The second one is giving back to the society. So we realized that a lot of women in the villages are unemployed. So we realized that every eyewear comes with a case. We told them to make cases for us. Today we are the only company in India that makes 100% recycled plastics cases. We recycle plastic, we make it into felt material, and then we use it as cases. So once after that 1 year, 2 year thing, I realized that I can make this more into an autopilot zone where I've actually filled all the various gaps in the society and my ecosystem, in my eyewear ecosystem. And then I was like, chalo, now I can be concentrating more on the hardcore marketing part of it, as well as I've always been into the tech aspect of it because of Fresh, Jewel, or you may say any of my college festivals that I've been a part of. And then that's when iCreate Infotech came into existence. So honestly, the whole concept about iCreate Infotech is very simple. We ourselves say this out very loud that we want to create accounting more easier. We want to make tech more user friendly. So today, honestly, my dad has been into the eyewear industry way before I entered also, and he was hardcore into numbers. So we realized that iCreate Infotech, and he always used to tell me that we are in a very unorganized sector. No one understands accounts, and everyone goes back. And this is not in my industry. This is basically in everyone's industry. If you guys are family business, you might have heard your parents say this. We have a lot of dead stock.
Yes, sir.
So that's when iCreate Infotech came into existence, and we came up with our own software known as PEACE. So that's PEACE, which is also known as Precisely Evolved Accounting Concepts for Entrepreneurs. With my software today, in any store, any business, I can tell any entrepreneur which is the highest selling color, shape, size, which is the highest selling brand. When I tell them this, what happens is, what do I help them in? They don't have to go and take up any goods when any of the supplier comes down to the store. They don't have to go and pick up any random stuff. They can just be like very picky about, okay, I want an Armani exchange ka X product only because it's sellable in my store. I'm trying to reduce the dead stock content in stores, as well as make accounting more organized. And some people come up and tell me, oh, this might be very concrete. You might have been doing a lot of tough stuff for these entrepreneurs. Honestly, it's just one click. In one click, I give you all your information on your dashboards. So at any point, I can tell you, okay, Jillian, this is your high selling color. So now any entrepreneur or any person who's handling the business, when he's purchasing anything again, he knows what's his sales pattern. And then he's going to change his purchase pattern and make sure numbers come into place. So that's when iCreate Infotech came into existence, and both companies work side by side. Like iCreate was born out of Ryan Eyewear when I realized that when I was personally started dealing with a lot of customers, basically my B2B customers, I realized how unorganized they were in their accounting aspect, and I wanted to make it more organized so that 5 years down the line, when their kids come into place and I'm into like 100% into my whole business, that's when I want all of us to have a proper ecosystem in place, where we're not running with paper docs and trails which we can't even find backwards. Hence, Ryan and iCreate came into existence.
Inspiring, sir.
So your website mentions that you're a 6-month-old company with 70 years of experience. So therefore, how do you balance the newness and the modernization with the experience?
Okay, so honestly, when I talk about us being 6 months old, that's basically me. When I started this whole company, I was the most freshest person in the IT space because I didn't understand what codes were going on. For me, it was rocket science. I didn't understand even one line of the code. I was like, honestly, all of this is, I had a concept in mind. I had a plan in mind. Okay, I want to help it the accounting aspect like this. So so then, I spoke to a lot of people from who've actually been interacting with the company in the eyewear aspect from IIT and IIM. And then that's when I got these guys on board, told them this whole idea about what I'm planning to and how do I want to, try and change the whole accounting concept in everyone's head. And honestly, it's always open. So the best thing that works in both my companies is that everyone do their own work. No one goes and questions the other ones on their expertise. So my job in both these companies, so in Ryan Iowa, is production, sales, and marketing. So no one comes and questions me on my production, sales, and marketing. And that's, I guess, how every business grows. If there are less people questioning you, that's when you actually, like, you can obviously go for feedback. But when you start fighting with people, say that, oh no, this is wrong, you put an open minded, hoga to hoga, nahi hua to no worries. So that's how I created Ryan. Was the whole concept of when I create, when I'm talking about, we thought of that only freshness in terms of. Could you just give me a second?
Yes, sure.
So sorry. Yes. So when I was talking about IKRM, for that we have a very very detailed chain, and we have people who do specific jobs only. Hence, it becomes more easier for our company to grow. So I handle customer acquisition, I handle marketing and sales. Someone else handles the tech part. So honestly, we believe that wherever you expertise in, you should just be over there and try and evolve your avenue to as a whole. Instead of, because I will go in a coding sector, I will not understand anything, and I will go and blabber to other lines which those guys won't understand. Hence, when we talk about that 70-year newness and everything, so I get the whole freshness because I've met so many customer bases, so I know what they're actually looking at. So I know the problem. I come and tell them the problem. I tell them this is a possible solution that I look at, and then based on the experience of the past, they decide if this is a viable option or no. So if they think it's a viable option, they're going to be like heads up saying that, okay, this can be done. If they see no, it's not a viable option because it might just make it more messed up for people to get the hang of it, then they obviously tell me a head said no, okay, we can't do this, and that's about it.
So what is the initial marketing strategy for a rising business?
Honestly, I would say there is no strategy for anyone to actually use in terms of, you can't tell anyone how they can make the business successful. It's about basically the mindset that you go on and the cause that you're supporting. So when I started, honestly, I went to 5-6 other people and I asked the same question. Can you give me a strategy how I'll make my company successful? And they were like, hey, it's your own child. You can't ask anyone how you want to make it successful. You are the only one who's going to actually groom him, make him whatever he wants to become. It's your vision that you get into reality. So my only suggestion or my only input that I give generally whoever I speak to. So honestly, when I came back to KC last year for a college festival named as Manigma, this year basically, I was a judge for 2 of the startup events. And they asked me the same question, what is your view of this whole thing and what do you want to tell entrepreneurs about it? My only thing was do what you like. You studied for 3 years, you've done your specialization in whatever course, and if it's relevant to your business, do whatever you like. Because honestly, if you go and ask 10 people about what they feel about it, they're going to tell you something that doesn't make sense to you in your own head. And if you've actually thought of an answer in your head, you've actually solved 50% of your problem. That's what I believe. Because you've already come with an answer to a question in your head. Now, if you go and ask 10 other people, they'll give you 10 other opinions, confusing you more. So I would just tell anyone and everyone, do what you like. See, what's the max that's going to happen is your company might just doom. But okay, all businesses go to the rock bottom and they grow. They're not going to go and see, honestly, even when it goes to rock bottom, you know at the end of the day that your company will not let it go and make a loss. So it'll make negative, it'll touch a digit and then you again pick it up from there.
Yeah.
So my only thing is do what you like. If you feel it's right and you think your company will grow with that strategy, try it. Because there is no book or anything that you can read and say that this is the actual marketing style. Do what you like. If it works out, it's amazing. If it doesn't work out, even amazing. You get to know that this strategy has not worked out. I will not use it in the future. And honestly, when I say very confidently, like even amazing, I mean it in a way that at your initial stage in your company, if you made a mess up in your initial start when you not actually made good numbers. When you start making numbers and you would have done this big goof up, that would have been a very big blow to you and the company. So my honest opinion is make 100 mistakes when you start the company. Once you start settling in, once you've been down the line, that's when you actually have to go with your preset notions that you've formed in the years?
Mm. Yes, so we live in a very competitive world. So to stay in this competitive field, which type of clients and industries do you cater your service to? Like, who's your target audience mainly?
Okay, so basically, when I talk about so I'll tell you about both target audience that I look at for both my companies. So when I start with IK and Infotech, my target audience is anyone and everyone who has a product, honestly, because every product has either a purchase side of it and a sales side of it. So honestly, I can't restrict myself to a specific industry. So we have clients based out in Australia, US, and other parts of the country also, and the world. So we have everyone who has a product, to be honest, because we are actually giving more material to that person who has a product over a service. So I would say any person who has a product, any age group, is fair for us as long as we are helping him grow his business and make smart decisions on his purchase pattern and his sales pattern. In terms of Ryan Iver, I would say my client base is everyone in India. So we always, when we talk to, like whenever I'm talking to my marketing team, when I'm talking to my sales team, I always tell them that we are not catering to any one individual. We're catering to the whole population of India. Because the only reason is, so when I was basically back in the day before, like when Ryan was in very, very initial phases, I used to travel a lot of cabs. When you're in Bombay, you travel in the Kali Pili cabs. So I'm assuming both of you will have also traveled a lot. Once I was having this interaction with a 60-year-old uncle who was driving a cab, and I was like, and he was trying to just stare at the, the wheel and trying to drive. And I was like, why don't you go and buy an eyewear for yourself? And the only notion and the only reply he said is, हम लोग के लिए eyewear नहीं है क्योंकि it's very expensive. I hardly earn 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees. इसमें से XYZ goes for CNG, XYZ goes in sending money for my house, XYZ goes for whatever other reason, or I'm paying for my cab to the person who I've leased it out to. So I end up with zero money. Then I don't know how to adjust my funds. As well as eyewear has always been an expensive affair for everyone. Hence, when I started Ryan Eyewear, the only notion that I had was I wanted to make a brand which is fully made in India and easily accessible and in the pocket size for every single Indian in this country. And honestly, when I talk about everything, I see a very huge population of India, which we've always catered to. Like in the past years, we've always catered to this whole population. So we always catered to either B plus, A plus segment of it. When I started with Ryan, I wanted to start with even D sector, D, C plus, everyone. My brand wanted to be a uniform brand for everyone. Basically, something like a Geo. Now, when we had or maybe Vodafone, Airtel, very significant. Not many people had a phone services because they were like, we don't need it; it's too expensive. The minute Geo came up, it was like, oh, I'm giving you free SIM cards. You would see lines outside the Geo store and people running for the SIM card. Even the smallest out of the smallest people would go there and stand for just a SIM card. So I want to make my brand in such a way that even the smallest person can go and wear an eyewear and protect itself. And I believe that eyewear, to be honest, there's a very notion that an eyewear is very expensive or something. Like whenever I tell this to people that your eyewear is approximately 3,000, 4,000 rupees, they start ranting about it, saying that, oh, it's very expensive. Like I meet a lot of clients, like passerbys and coming and telling me, oh, 3,000 is very expensive for me and everything. And my only answer to them is very simple. You go and you buy a 3,000 rupee outfit without even wearing it once a day for an XYZ party of yours. 3,000, even if you divide it by 365 days, that's approximately 10 rupees per day. I guess 10 rupees your eye deserves. And then eyewear you're going to wear 365 days. It's not going to be like you're going to wear it for a single day. You're going to protect your own self. And I'm like, okay, you don't want to pay for the 3,000 rupees? Amazing. Don't pay for it. Take it for free, but at least wear it. Because at the end of the day, you are only right. Like about 50 million of people are blind in India, and 75% can be actually avoidable. So our reason about Ryan was to make eyewear affordable. At the same time, make sure that we try and reduce the statistics. So that's my take on it.
Yes, sir. So where do you see your company in the next 2 years from now?
In the
next 2 years from now.
Okay, so honestly, when I talk about IT and Infotech, my major target is I want to reach every single household in India because IT is something that you actually can reach masses by just sharing it across. Like I can share it to a friend and he likes the product. He's gonna be like, okay, fine, fair, amazing. I'm in for it too. I'm down for it too. So my whole aspect about IT and Infotech is reaching every single store or every single B2B customer base or B2C customer base in India. When I talk about Ryan as well, the thing that I'm very so honestly, there's no brand that has actually gone on an international scale in terms of being selling in international markets. All brands that are being formed in India has always been sold in India only. And you've never heard of website being sold at maybe Paris or maybe sold at New York. So I just want to be so basically, but you hear an Armani exchange coming from maybe Europe to India. So I want to create a structure for my own brand that Ryan Iver is a achievable, like every single person in India can access it, as well as a premium segment of it can achieve it overseas also. So in the next 2 years plan and all the strategies are in such a way that my brand can be accessible to firstly all my Indian customers, as well as it's sold abroad also. So that is our motivation, or that is the concept that we run currently with Ryan Ivan. And I say it is very simple. We want to reach as many B2B businesses or B2C businesses as possible, as well as our major target as of now for the next 2 years is an Indian customer base.
Amazing,
So,
sir.
last question from my side is that can you share a piece of advice with the budding entrepreneurs of today's generation?
Okay, so honestly, I hear a lot of this in terms of a lot of my friends I've been interacting with. They end up doing a lot of things that they didn't want to actually do, but they end up doing it because either peer pressure, either you've heard this from your teacher say that, "Beta, you're very good in numbers. Do end up becoming a
Mhm.
CA," or your parents telling you, "Okay, I've been a CA, you should also become a CA," or "I have become a businessman, you should also become a businessman." Honestly, I have tried that. It never works. When I was back in 11, 12, this is what I used to do. People told you have a family business, do what you do. And okay, I will do it. But there was no satisfaction at the end of the day. When, at the end of the day, it's after that same 8 hours that I have, that you have, that everyone on this call has. If in that 8 hours, I don't do anything significant that makes me happy, I feel it's useless to do it. Because you just wasted that 8 hours, which everyone else has, just to satisfy someone else's wishes about what they want to see you doing. Like I know a lot of friends. Like I work with a lot of friends who actually bakers and people who from different like clothing industries, textile industries, jewelry industries, and they all come up to me, and so I help them with their marketing because being in the marketing aspect for a while, so I help them with their logo creation, their brand identity. To be honest, when I'm actually talking to them, I always tell them this. So honestly, they're like, how far do you see our business is growing? Also, like a cake business, how far do you see it? I was like, honestly, I'm no one to tell you how far it's gonna go. See, your point at this side of the table has to be that your product is not accessible to everyone. A, B, you provide a quality product yourself. Because A, when you start providing a quality product and you make it affordable and you make it, you reach out to a lot of people, automatically they're going to go and tell their friends about it. And if you're good at it, your 10 people, just telling out good stuff about you. So I would say don't think about where it's going to go. Just do what you like and do, like, honestly, I believe that whichever industry you're, try and be the best out of it.
Yes. Yes, sir. So thank you so much for your valuable time. It was inspiring. And Casey is happy to welcome you again, but this time as an entrepreneur, not as a student.
It feels very good to be back at KC. I came back last year and I was like so happy. I was like, oh, I'm being called back to KC. I don't know, somehow KC and my equation has always been very close because I've been part of a lot of college festivals, been a part of a lot of placement cell and entrepreneur. Like we didn't have an entrepreneur cell that time, but entrepreneur relevant events. And I was like, this relation with KC has always been very significant. So, honestly, when anyone ever reaches out from KC, at least, I'm like more than happy to be back at KC and, interacting with people who've been a part of the ecosystem that I've always been a part of it. And honestly, I believe that my major growth has happened in KC because honestly, that 3 years, if I wouldn't have actually found what I liked, I would have been ended up like any other person sitting at a cabin doing, the same monotonous job that everyone expects me to do.
Yes.
So I believe that, Casey is actually given me the floor to, open up my ideas. When you're actually going in college, you open your ideas, you tell them what you feel about. And that's that small process when you start as a college festival helps you significantly in your life because you already opened up. So you started speaking what you think is right for yourself, and that helps you when you're growing in your business.
Yes.
Yes, sir. It was really nice talking to you, and thank you so much for giving us your time and doing this interview with us. And so, lastly, I have a
We,
small request. Can we please take
for
a
sure,
photo for our Instagram account? Thank you.
for sure.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, let
So
me take
we'll be,
one with you all too.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, perfect. Yes, sorry, I
Yes,
cut you.
sir. And so we'll be posting this on YouTube as well. So can you tell the viewers to like, share, and subscribe this video?
Always down for it.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much,
And
sir.
thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
sir.
guys, for
Thank
having
you.
me on board for on board ESL. It was very great to come back. And firstly, sorry because I had to change the schedule a couple of times. But
No,
thank you so
sir.
much for having me.
Mm,
It's been
mm.
an amazing time with all of y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Also,
you,
also
sir.
thank you, Ayushi, for typing in a lot of stuff that I've been speaking about. I know it's a tedious task behind the computer, but thank you so much for it too.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
We good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Julian. Thank you so much, Shab. Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
sir.
Ayushi.
Thank you.
Mm,
Have a great day ahead and a great week ahead.
yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Same.
Bye, sir. Have a good day.